Welcome to Searching for the Question Live. My name is David Orban, and the topic that we are going to talk about is a wonderful mix of art and science and engineering. A lot of people still is attached to the ancient Aristotelian assumption that the world of abstract understanding is separate and should be separate from the world of applied technology. That has never been the case. It has always been a very aristocratic assumption, but counterproductive since the beginning. Artists always needed to understand and apply the tools they had available in order to express themselves. And they didn't feel demeaned by the fact that they could do so effectively. And today's conundrums and challenges will seem a little bit ridiculous, give it, well, certainly 20 years, but maybe even 10 or 5. We will get accustomed to the latest generations of tools that give the power to artists in so many different fields to express their message, their passion, their dreams, give form to their art. But today, we are still in a moment in time when talking about AI in art is controversial, even more so to those who are professionally employed or earn a living from art done in a traditional way. And we have to understand the unease and the uncertainty or even the outrage they feel by what used to be a very exclusive craft that they gained by years or decades of investment in gaining the ability and the skills needed to be able to express themselves, compared to just clicking a button and creating an image, creating a song, creating a video. So I want to confirm that I understand their struggle, and I invite them to consider experimenting with the world of AI tools, because I can tell they are not gonna go away. They are not going to be eliminated or censored or ostracized effectively. There may be some small victories, but even those are going to be short-living. So I wanted to make this premise because otherwise it could seem that I am just heartlessly promoting a mechanized view of the world that doesn't take into account these other points of view. With that, I want to give a very warm welcome to our guest of today, my friend Roberto, who, among many other things, is also a musician. Welcome, Roberto. And with whom we have been exchanging links about AI music for probably a couple of years. So you were skeptical for a long time, right?
Yes, thank you, David, for having me. I'm really pleased to be here and talking about these things with you. Yes, I was absolutely skeptical in the sense that we have been promised some level of AI for a long time in all of our lives. And all the real attempts were just not there, at least 2 or 3 years ago when we started talking about music more specifically. I remember telling you that I had an interest in understanding if it was possible to work with AI in music. And since then, you've been very kindly so sending me a link of everything you could find at any time you could find it. And while at the beginning, most of these were very, very rough experiments, which didn't trigger any sense of art or willingness to give them a try in me. I understand why they would in other people, but in me, they just didn't trigger. I had way more satisfaction anyway playing the music than using these tools. I was not curious enough, maybe, or the tools were really too rough at the time. But then, as you put it, recently something major came by, which is more specifically Suno AI, which I know that you've been experimenting and talking about it recently.
So we will go rapidly into looking at the various tools and give examples. I will start with an example of mine that is a very early experiment, and then you will show your more recent ones. Then maybe I will share another one that is a mix of AI and human. And then we will also articulate some of our points of view with both current and future implications of this technology. And before we do that, I want to give a welcome to our viewers and followers as well. Emiliano is kind enough to send his comments on almost every live I have. This one in particular, he says, is a message from Grok that we are supposed to be decrypting. And I cannot promise you, Emiliano, that we will do it live. To start, I believe these are cores. So maybe I would start with that, but I'm sure that if I fed it back to an AI, it would have an easy time telling us the implication. Anyway, you or others are welcome to send comments, and Roberto and I will definitely take them. And yes, one of the experiments that I did about a year ago were also using Suno. Let me play this song that I created then. And then I invite you, Roberto, to tell me why it sucks. Because I like it, but I created it. So I'm not at all objective, and you can tell me why a year ago this wasn't actually good enough. Here you go. I ran it until the end because the images of the um, members of the band playing are actually my children in their virtual representation as pianists or bassists or drummers, and the singer in somewhat ambitiously wearing what is called a wife beater in gleaming colors is R. David Orban, my AI alter ego, uh, with whom you can also have a conversation on my website and see what it says about various topics. So in the credits, you also see I used Suno for the music, uh, ChatGPT for the lyrics, um, Midjourney for the images that I animated using Runway, and so on. A real ensemble of AI tools to get to the final result. So I'm very happy about it. But tell me, from a musical point of view, uh, what what is it that you don't like about it potentially?
I mean, there are it depends on what you want to achieve with a song, first of all, right? What kind of communication you would like to do. But in general, what I can tell you by listening to the song is, from a musical point of view. I'm not a professional musician, by the way. I've been a professional musician. I'm a hobbyist right now, so things might have changed because I'm not that young anymore. Um, but the first thing I notice it's that the whole song is very flat. It doesn't have dynamics of the changes between, you know, harder parts, softer parts. There is no story in there. It just starts at 100% or whatever that percentage is, and it stays all along for all the duration of the song. The second thing that I notice is related to that. What happens is that there's absolutely zero surprise in the listener, which means that after just 10 seconds or 15, you understood what's going to happen. And it basically becomes, I'm sorry for the terminology, I don't want to be insulting or anything, but relatively boring, like, because it's very steady, it doesn't change. And there's never a hook. That's a third thing. Like, there isn't a repeatable, understandable, catchy, not that you necessarily need these things. So that's why I was telling, depends on what your original intent is. But there isn't a catchy thing that basically asks you to re-listen to the song, or maybe attaches to one of a very specific feeling that might actually create a link between the listener and you. And that thing is missing. And finally, the lyrics are just closer to narrative. They're not written to being lyrics that are corresponding to the song. It's almost like you could actually have a person speak those lyrics rather than singing, and it wouldn't change the nature of the song. So just by hearing this, these are the four things that I notice. Now, does it suck? Of course not. It's definitely worse in the world. This is a typical example of why I went in this experiments that I did with Suno, because the AI is only as good as the model and as the songs that it's fed with. And if the model is ingesting a lot of very similar and very boring songs, especially from the newer years, to me at least, of course, this is a very personal taste, it will spit out very monotonous, resulting of the ingestion of this kind of music, and then spit them out as is. And that's the main thing I can say about this song. There's a lot we can talk about
Okay.
the difference in
So
music, but
so I don't know, of course, but it could very well be that at the time, a year ago, I think like even more, 15 months ago, having just been released or shortly before, Suno couldn't do much more. And in the meantime, it evolved, and now it does much more. So after seeing the what was possible then, why don't we hear some examples that you created? And of course, I will take revenge and tell you that they are boring and whatever right away. I alert you. But let's look at what you
Absolutely.
created, and then you can explain the thinking behind it, how you use the tool, why the use of the tool was particularly enlightening for you.
Yes, and you can go ahead and revenge, and like I'm going to criticize it myself, because what I'm going to show you is not necessarily a song that I'm proud of. Quite the opposite. These are just little experiments, but I can show you what I think is a different way of using Suno that musician can actually take advantage of in a very different way than a more standard non-musician usage, which is in general providing prompts and lyrics and maybe reiterating, sometimes taking out the stems so you can sing over it and whatnot. And all of what I'm showing comes from a very specific functionality which was relatively recent, which is the cover functionality. I'm going to share my screen so I can show you what I'm talking about. Okay, here it is. So this is a standard Suno page, and this is just my internal library. I didn't even share these songs, which tells you what I think about those. But I'm going to show you the process of what took me into a variety of directions, which I think can really help a musician be creative with a tool and still writing their own songs, like not having them imposed by Suno. No, just writing your own songs and taking them to the next level and analyzing different possibilities, and maybe getting triggered on specific reactions that Suno has. So where does it all start? I've uploaded here Another Day of Hope, which I'm gonna briefly play, because this was me when I was 14 years old. And I just wanted to say, can I recoup an old song and see what happens using it with AI? So as you can see here, I don't know if it shows it, but this is an uploaded song. It's not a song generated by Suno. It's a song that Suno can use to do other things. And the other things are this functionality I was referring to, which is Discover here. And this is, to me, it has been like the epiphany of what we can do, at least with Suno. This cover functionality here, which basically takes an existing song and then you can rework it and change it. And so I went along and understood how that worked and how I could use it. So if I play this now, this was recorded on a 4-track tape, David, probably in 1987. I don't know if you remember those, but the whole idea is that you had cassettes, right? And cassettes had 2 tracks on one side, 2 tracks on the other side. So you had left and right signals. Then you turn the cassette over and you had an additional 60 or 90 minutes with, again, left and right signals. What were 4-tracks machines in the 1980s? Were a thing where you put one of these, but you could write or read independently from all the 4 tracks in a single direction. And so you could record your things. First the drums, then the guitar, which is a technique that the Beatles bootstrapped. But it was available to us as musicians in the 1980s, maybe a little before, I don't know, but it was cheap then compared to what the Beatles had used. So this is the song, a 1987 song of 15 years old me singing Another Day of Hope.
Sun is racing over the clear blue sea. It's going to eat all the ground below.
I can stop it there. I don't think anyone necessarily needs to hear more of this song. But you can hear that there are, sounds really recorded badly. There is a hi-hat, which is extremely disturbing, extremely monotonous, because it was from a rhythmical machine, but it wasn't intended to be used in that way. And another thing that I'd like for you to notice, you have heard a little bell that was responding to my singing, right? Um, and that's important because the LLMs, I found out, they are really paying attention to all the small details that you give to them. So what did I do? I saw this thing, like the remix thing. I said, well, let's have it remixed. But I decided to stay in the same style. So I didn't say, I did provide, you see here, some stadium rock vibe with shimmering delays guitars. I even put the Bono name, like the YouTube Bono name. And of course, Suno ignores all of these because of copyright reasons. It will take out all famous names. But yeah, it's still there, anthemic choruses and whatnot. I was envisioning this as like a song played in the stadiums and all that. And I passed in another, and that's all I did. You see here that Suno wrote actually the lyrics of my original uploaded song. I didn't write this. And without changing anything, I just resubmitted it and say, can you do a cover of this song and with these specific tags, which basically should just redo the same song. And this is what it did.
Sun is rising over the clear blue sea. It's going to heat all the ground below.
I can stop here. I don't know if you've noticed that it still used a little melody of the bells. I can play it back for you if you didn't catch that. But this time it decided to use a pluck synthesizer. It's all right. But you see how it respects the bass mood, the singing mood, the structure of the song. It actually did something very interesting. The beginning of my song was boring. It was very long. It decided to cut it in half. The intro, instead of being 20 seconds, is now 8 seconds. And the singing starts beforehand because probably in the model that it's trained, you know that you have to start singing. And your refrain, in most radiophonic of the 1990s and ever since, the refrain should come before your 1 minute to be radiophonic. And so what it did, it actually applied all this and the result of this song. So that was my first step. What do you think about this, David? Do you have any thoughts, reactions?
One question, and apologies for my musical ignorance, but Another Day of Hope is a song that existed before you at 15 years of age recorded it, or you created it from zero then?
That I created from zero then. This is one of my ever first, probably like around my 20th song ever written in my life.
Okay.
Yep.
So first of all, very nice, and yes, I definitely recognize the vibes of that. Just like I don't know if you recognized, my song was written in a new wave kind of style. Yes, the fact that the intro was long before and it's short in the new version, and also the vocalist is a bit more mature. Your 15 years old vocals are a bit hesitant or less confident, and the second version's vocals were more confident in expressing it. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And you just caught on one very important thing, which is like, as a musician, because this is basically my thesis here, is like my hypothesis, which is like, can we use Suno as in a musician's way to get further than we normally would do, but still writing our own songs and finding inspiration out of this tool? And what you just caught is the quality of the produced result is already superior than the 3 days that it took me back in 1987 to record that little piece. And it was just me clicking a button. Is that a good or a bad thing? That's an ethical discussion, and I'm totally willing to have it with you. But as a matter of fact, right now, just by clicking on a button, I almost had a set of musicians at my disposal singing my song. which is something we couldn't do before. That was my first step. So what took me further was, okay, can I first of all check what happens with more modern music and something that I've produced more recently of higher quality. So if you want, I can show you where that goes with another song, which is
Yes,
called
please.
Music from the Stars.
Oh, sorry, I have to. No, do I have to? What do I have to do? This is what I have to do. There you go.
There you go. Thank you. So Music from the Star, again, just for the matter of, you see that I put a source under parentheses. When I do that is because it's my original song. It's an uploaded file, which, by the way, when I did this, it was limited to 2 minutes. And now if you upload files, so this is constraining 2 minutes, but now the limit has become 8 minutes. So within this time frame, that which was a serious limitation because you only had available 2 minutes, now that limitation is gone. And you see that I was still using V4 at the time. So this is my song. I'm going to put it a little bit again here at the beginning, and so that you can listen. This is a song that I produced. It was a prototype. It wasn't mixed, so all the volumes are a little tricky. The sounds that are in there are not necessarily the best, and so on and so forth. This is how it sounds like. The text is mine, though. Here it is, and I didn't write it again. It's the AI that understood the text and wrote it next to here. So this is it.
Like the music from the stars, you came to me here. We danced all night to the summer sounds, waving like the sea. The flaming lips you gave to me here, surrounded by the lights of the alien towns, like the music from the stars, like the music from the stars. Like the music from the stars.
Okay, I can stop this here. Why did I wait until here? Because I wanted to show you that there is a structure, a very well-defined structure, which is typical in electronic music. Here there is an intro, then there's a little down, which is like a preparation, where there's a little pluck synthesizer that does the melody, and then there is an increase, and then there is a drop, which is the dancing bit. Okay, this is typical EDM, big room, which is the kind of things you would have like a Tomorrow. What is? Oh, damn it! What is the name of the Tomorrow Festival? The Tomorrow World, I think it is. There's a very gigantic festival that happens every year, which is, I'm too old to go there, but I would really love to. Like kids are there, like maybe from 40 to 18 years old. I don't know. Like it's Tomorrowland. That's the name, Tomorrowland. It's really, really big. And so I said to myself, well, this is a different style of music. I wanted to see how soon it went with this style. So what did I do? I created 2 covers out of this without changing the style. And this is still important. You see that I still have EDM and big room in here. So I'm not expecting the style to change. And if I put the first one, you're going to see that, again, we are seeing the same thing. It's just my song, recorded a little better with some decisions in it. The sounds is definitely better than what I had done, which wasn't mixed and all that. And this is it.
Like the music from the stars, you came to me. We danced all night to the summer sounds, waving like the sea. The flaming lips you gave to me, surrounded by the lights of the alien towns, like the music from the stars, like the music from the stars.
Here you can see again 2 things, right? Look, 33 seconds instead of my 50. It did make some decisions in terms of like how to open up and whatnot. I still find it pretty much what I asked it to do. And so I generated multiple of these. This was my next stage. What happens if I do more of these? And so I did one more here, still marked though EDM big rooms. I didn't change the style. I wanted to keep the style, and it gave me something way more dark. And actually, I love it way more. And this is like take number 2. It's like, as a musician, I'm getting a proposal of a different variation on my song while keeping intact the structure and the sound. Listen to this, David, and tell me what you think.
Like the music from the stars, you came to me. We danced all night to the summer sounds, waving like the sea. The flaming lips you gave to me, surrounded by the lights of the alien towns. Like the music from the stars, like the music from the stars, like the music from the stars, like the music from the stars.
Different style in it. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's still the same thing, but it's giving me as a musician the ability of trying directly.
And the festival, by the way, Tomorrowland, is going on right now
I know. Yep.
in Belgium, and you say that you wish you could go, and a friend of mine, my age, went.
Is there? Oh,
No, he went a couple of years ago, I think, from Argentina with his 14-year-old son. And that was really a highlight for them and their obviously wonderful relationship. And for me, it is also a constant experience of learning through my children, especially in musical tastes. I have discovered so many things from Linkin Park to Skrillex to more recently Korean K-pop through my daughter, who now lives in Seoul. And on my own, I wouldn't have had the chance of enriching my my musical taste without that. Is it Suno that actually gives you like a cartwheel of styles that you can get inspiration from?
if there is such a thing, I haven't seen it. It might be, or maybe it's one of the competitors.
Okay, I will while you are talking, I will try to
Okay.
to find it, because it was really wonderful. There are hundreds of different musical styles represented by various colored slices on a wheel, and I don't remember if they are ordered in any way or not. It is difficult to give just a linear order of musical styles, right? But that is also an inspiration, because I think that you will agree one of the huge benefits of these tools is the amount of experimentation that you can do. Yes, pretending that with just one click you did the final version of something is the meaning. It gives both the person clicking and the platform, the tool, little value. But clicking 1,000 times and then deciding after listening to each variant which is better and why starts to be meaningful instead.
I'm glad that you're bringing this up, because that's exactly, until now we just did boilerplate. Now the exciting parts comes, and it's exactly related to what you're talking about, which is let's start changing styles. And let's start seeing what happens. And I'm going to show you very quickly some very, very nice things. Like the same song, you can see here, I call it synthwave. Said, can you give me just in the style of synthwave, which is like this 80s nostalgia kind of music, right? And listen to how different this is, while keeping, or at least trying to keep, the same song and same structure.
Like the music from the stars, it came to me. We danced all night to the summer sounds, waving like the sea. The flaming lips you gave to me, surrounded by the lights of the alien towns, like the music from the stars. Like the music from the stars. Like the music from the stars.
So here where it is interesting to me, because it fails at doing something very basic. And the reason is because I'm trying to impose a style, which is synthwave, on top of a song which is structured and composed to be EDM. So you see that it's struggling because it's trying to do synthwave, and the first part is okay. But then this intermediate part where it's trying to grow up with this snare, it doesn't make any sense, right? And it's really trying to stretch his understanding, I don't know how to call it, the model's understanding of the style on a song which doesn't belong to that style. And this is a part which I think things can really start to get extremely interesting. And so, for example, and I'm going to give you another one of these examples here. I've got a friend whose name is Andrea de Begnac, his artist name. He recorded a song called Africa. And Africa is an Italian song of him at the guitar. And I'm just going to play a little bit to you. And then you're going to see that I've declined it in a variety of different styles, just because that song, being just guitar and voice, gives more flexibility in the way you can actually play this song. So this is the song, the original one that he recorded. You can also hear the tick, because this is coming directly from a studio version. And I didn't remove it just because.
Africa, avevi le mani d'Africa, tu eri un continente misterioso, tutto da scoprire, a mano e a mano amerò. Africa.
Since the first time I heard the song, I told Andrea, this is a big band song. I imagined the whole set of, and I had this in my mind, and I wanted to record it to him, but it would have taken time. And so I couldn't resist the chance of actually giving this song to Suno. And as you can see it here, my first attempt here is Africa cover from a big band. What I didn't expect is that the big band for Suno, it's a 1920s or 30s big band, which was completely unexpected to me. And this is how it sounds like.
Africa, avevi le mani d'Africa, tu eri un continente misterioso, tutto da scoprire.
Isn't this extraordinary? Like, what happened there? Like, do you imagine like wanting to actually try this with a big band or recording this the time that it was? This is the extraordinary part. Again, your consideration about ethical, the work, art, where is this going? The implications for humans, I completely agree. But right now, I'm just enjoying, the spur of a moment of this magic of seeing finally a song that I've thought was for a big band since the beginning, and after a decade, it takes me one click to actually try it out. And so I said, well, I want more, because when I hear Andrea plucking his guitar, to me it sounds a little bit like uh, what is the name of that instrument? I forgot the name. The kora. You remember, like, it's these African instruments which have a body and then two sticks, and you play them over here. But still, I wasn't happy. Before I went there, I said, no, no, no. That's really nice, but I want a smooth jazz big band with muted trumpets, right? I don't want this 1930s or whatever the year of that is. And he gave me something which is completely wrong. Like, it has nothing to do. And there's actually an African, kind of a standard traditional African voice on top of it. Here it is.
Africa, avevi le mani d'Africa.
So you hear it's trying to mash genres because he hears Africa, he reads Africa, knows it's about Africa. And even though I give it tags like smooth jazz, big band, whatever, the model this time picked up on the African theme, and it's giving me and trying to jam in the Africa that I didn't originally ask for. But this is completely unexpected. I have other example, but I wanted to give you a chance to say something because I keep on talking all the time.
Well, these examples are very interesting. And my mother is an artist. She's a painter. And she's open-minded enough to look at AI generated images and not to react too negatively. And so I asked her, how does she define the frontier where AI art and human art meet? And what is the challenge, or what is the skill that as of today only belongs to humans? And she gave a perfect answer, an answer that is applicable to visual arts, to music, but also to the frontiers of AI applications in science and technology. Because she said, AI cannot come up today with a new style of visual representation. It cannot found a new school of painting or drawing. And in music, we have incredible examples of new styles being born that no one could have predicted. Jazz. What is jazz? What is the origin and the source of jazz? Of course, we can research, and then we can say, okay, it is rooted in this kind of culture, in this kind of migration, in this kind of interaction. But, I am a reformed positivist. Positivists are reductionists, and they say, okay, knowing at a fine enough precision the movement of atoms, we can predict the birth of jazz.
Sure.
And I say I'm a reformed reductionist positivist because that is just ridiculous. We cannot say.
There's chaos theory amongst other
we cannot
things, right?
say with a straight face that knowing enough about the physical world and the movement of atoms, we can say that the cause of jazz being born is X, Y, or Z, right? Now, a lot of people believe that by the end of this year, but certainly by the end of next year, we will have AI that will have achieved that new level And this is both my observation and my provocation towards you, because you have been kind enough to keep looking at the tools and links that I sent you, and then honest enough to say, hey, David, by the way, this is now starting to be interesting. So are you ready to, I'm not saying expect or believe, but are you ready to suspend your disbelief and see if in another year there may be a new musical movement that could hide behind humans, but if we dig enough and we are persistent, we will discover that actually it is a new musical style that was genuinely created by AI.
You ask the tough questions, don't you? I mean, you know a thing or two about questions, David. And I would be curious to also hear your answer to this.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you mine. I use a lot of LLMs in my daily work, way more than I do for music. The principle is, of course, kind of the same in sense that you're training models, but the theoretical models behind them can, of course, vary significantly. The transformer models for LLMs has its own story. And what I'm noticing, and I'm doing a parallel there, what I'm noticing is in general that the exponential growth in terms of quality of what they can produce is undeniable. But my take is that the current road they're on, it's not the road that takes us to general intelligence. Though this is just, my take. And I know a lot of people disagree with me, and that's totally fine. I'm probably in 1 or 2 years, I'm going to look back at this and say, what an idiot. But right now, what I think is that the path we are pursuing is not the one of general intelligence. It's not the one of autonomous creativity creation. What we are right now experiencing is a very fast pace ingestion of what exists and spitting out a revisited version of what exists. And here's a little bit of positivity and silver lining that is in me, who in general not a positive person. There's a threshold. Below the threshold is anything that AI will more and more be able to generate, including with tools like Suno. Above this threshold is where human creativity and a different level expresses itself by doing things like surprising you, which is not something that often happens with AI. It can, of course, but it's a different level of surprise. It's not necessarily something new. It's something different that you hadn't thought of, but it's not something that you haven't seen before in general with AI. So what I'm anticipating is that all the music, since we're talking about music, generated by AI is going to be below a creativity threshold. And the silver lining is that it's going to be easier to isolate those genius artists that just exceed and do, one step beyond what has existed until now. And because of that reason, hasn't yet been synthesized and trained inside of models. And so the number of famous people differentiating themselves because of their own individual incredible talent is going to be smaller, and we can recognize them much more easier. Because when you cannot distinguish songs generated from AI from the songs that other artists do, because they're copying and going on, inspirations, trends. And this is my take. Is that me? Is that you?
What is happening?
Sorry, I'm hearing a lot of return noise. Oh, it's gone.
I am doing stuff, and it
Okay.
could be by me. Apologies if it is.
It's all right.
But whatever we express in my way of thinking is part of the evolution of ideas. And a lot of people know memes as funny images on the internet, but the origin of the word is by Richard Dawkins, that in analogy of genes gave this name to the units of reproduction of ideas. And so just like genes evolve, ideas evolve as well. We have memetic evolution. And the expression of genes is in our bodies and the various species. And we have a much less evolved understanding of what is the science and the engineering of memetics than that of genetics, and even that is not fully blossomed. It's still at the beginning. But I think that there is a good analogy, just how there is a way for different species to move from small differences to differences that are important enough for us to recognize this is indeed a new species, for the expression of ideas to also morph into something that we label with a new term. And that is when we say this is a new style of painting, or this is a new musical genre, or things like that. And I am vehemently against the reductive and blind labeling of our advanced AIs as stochastic parrots, which pretends to be able to ignore them forever because they have nothing to say, to teach. They help in no way, and anyone who dares to use them is harming themselves and society. That is aggressively stated the message of the people who pretend that the LLMs are just stochastic parrots. Because for me, they represent so many other things and so many new things that I greatly enjoy, as they support and catalyze my thinking, as they give depth to something that otherwise could be very superficial and have just glimpses of novelty. They really give body to my creativity. And that is why I want to warn our viewers against underestimating the effort and the ingenuity that is going into improving advanced AI systems as we speak. Because just as labeling LLMs as stochastic parrots precludes you from considering them and precludes you from recognizing their value, saying that advanced AI systems are only transformers, are only LLMs, are only be able to predict the next token or whatever we believe they do is dangerous, because even in something as recognizable as image generation, we are already using systems that are radically different from each other. Diffusion-based image generation is very different than not one based on whatever the alternative is, the term now escapes me. And the same with video generation, and the same is going to be with music. And where do these systems get their data? Even there's so much innovation happening every day. They get their data not only ingesting existing human creation. One of the reasons why humanoid robots are now exploding is not only because we are able to build them with advanced electric motors and control systems, and of course the existing AIs that are able to keep them in balance and whatever else. One of the reasons why humanoid robots are exploding is because we need them. And what do we need them for? We need them to generate training data for the next generation systems. And this training data is going to be bird songs, it's going to be people having conversations with them, it's going to be the robots bumping against kitchen utensils and inventing drumming without realizing. It's going to be so many things. And that, in my opinion, is going to contribute to opportunity to recognize new degrees of creativity in these systems. And there will be very formal ways of going about it, and scientists and engineers will be proud of how they build the systems, but there will need to be open-minded exploration of what the systems can do, including our courage to expect and to recognize when the quantity moves into a new quality and we have some AI music that is in a new style. So I don't want to force you to give an answer. Francesco said that the question was already tough, and he agrees with the answer you gave. Goes on to further elaborate. We'll see. And of course, I invite you to join us in a year's time and see what happened. Please.
No, absolutely. And I really don't disagree with what you're saying in the sense of like how we are evolving the way we are feeding the AI. We're still feeding it. I don't know at which point and which is what humans do, right? We also hear the birds, and because of that, we start singing, or we hear stones or water rhythmically bouncing on a beach, and then we start doing, playing drums and whatnot. So the principle of where we get started might relatively be similar to what you're saying. I'm just saying that I'm just me right now. What I'm seeing is a synthesis, like it's a mechanism of standardizing excellence, like vulgarizing excellence. Like the existence of AI is allowing, to your point, David, we shouldn't ignore that. I don't think anyone should be ignoring that. My life has radically changed since 1.5 years, where I use AI regularly from when I wake up to when I go to sleep. Is it better? Is it worse? I don't know. I'm having fun with it until the moment that it does not kill me, right? But until now, I'm having fun with it. But what I do see is like it's vulgarization of excellence, which means that anyone can have access to an expert in a variety of fields. That is something that they wouldn't have had until not so long ago, including music. So if you enter a text and you start playing with it, you have access to an expert musician playing music. I don't know whether the principles and the algorithms that we are using right now are just trying to emulate the mixing process that we as humans do to evolve to the next stage. I don't know about that. Will it do faster than humans? Will be humans more unique than this process of assimilation? I don't know. If it's the machines coming up with a new genre, will we be there to actually understand that there is a new genre? Because jazz and all of that, to Francesco's point, came up because there was a whole culture, a whole city behind it. There was recognition, love that came out of there and then amplified, and then it came over. Imagine now that a crazy machine somewhere on some Suno guy right now trying a song invents something completely new, except that the guy for some reason answered the phone and forgot to listen to the song, and it's gone. So it's very hard to predict. At the moment, what I'm seeing is just the principle that getting applied to me are closer to one of a mimic than to a species that is trying to evolve. That's what I'm saying. And maybe, who knows? We will see.
If I were a creative AI, for sure, I would seek recognition of that creativity from other AIs, my peers, rather than humans. And coming up with songs at 1,000 beats per second, and
Right.
coming up with a tonal scale composed of hundreds of notes rather than 8 or 12 would be the starting point of an exploration of new kinds of art, a priori inaccessible to humans, and I wouldn't very much mind or care. And I believe this is bound to happen, and that is where the challenge to create a bridge between human perception of the world as is today and a much more complex world of tomorrow that is rich of phenomena that we are completely unequipped to decode is a challenge worthy of effort. And the consequence of that effort and the consequence of addressing that challenge is going to be the fragmentation of the human experience even further, because it will be fundamentally important to recognize the right of those who are not ready to cross that bridge to stay behind. And if we laugh about the Amish in their horse-drawn carriages and their refusal of using modern technology, what percentage of humans will need to support that point of view, respective of some advanced technology? Is it 5% instead of 1? Is it 10% instead of 5? There will be a percentage of humans, in my opinion, growing percentage, that will say, I did everything I could. I stretched my adaptability as far as possible. I just cannot go further. You can label me whatever you want, a Luddite, a boomer. You can call me any names, but I cannot go further. And the reason why I love having these conversations and provoking my guests like I did with you is because this is urgent. This is important. We have to exercise our childlike curiosity and adaptability in as many different ways as we can, because the changes are coming and coming fast.
I definitely agree with some of that, not all of it, but I do agree with you that curiosity is fundamental. I also do agree with you that AI whatever form it has and it will have is inevitable. That's an absolute certainty. The fact also that some people will just not be able to digest it is a very natural psychological phenomenon. It's just too much. It's just too much of it, right? And depending also on people's mental age and openness and level of preparation, education, whatever they like in life, it's going to be a different rate of adoption, just as you said. I don't know. I really have a hard time. You're way more inclined and able to make futurist predictions, David, because you are very attentive. And I've known you for a little while now. Is that 20 years?
Yeah.
And often what you said 20 years ago, took a little bit of time to actually come true, but they did. Right now, I'm just living what I can perceive in the next 6 to 12 months. I have a hard time in figuring out and trying to imagine what is really going to happen beyond that. So I don't feel entitled to do any kind of other kind of predictions.
Well, I just made a prediction a few days ago, and it was really astonishing because it became true like a couple of days later.
Okay.
As a matter of fact,
Oh.
I have been talking about this a long time. The fact that merely exponential phenomena are not anymore a good model for recognizing our world and to make predictions about what is happening, calling through the mathematical term jolting technologies, specifically AI, that expresses a doubling rate that is shortening. So rather than going with a constant doubling rate like Moore's law for the past 50 years, in AI, we are seeing things improving at an increasing rate. And I conclude the article saying that a particular study that talks about how our AI agents are able to complete tasks that take longer and longer, and that they double the length of the task every 7 months. If this research institute called Matter, METR, had to revise their results, publishing that now they are looking at agents actually doubling the length of the tasks that they are able to complete successfully, not in 7 months anymore, but a shorter amount of time, then I would consider the jolting technologies hypothesis proven. And so I published the article on June 8th, and Matter published their new result of 4 months doubling rate instead of 7 months on July 15. So a week later. And of course, this is just one data point, and we need many more data points. But what matters is that if we are laughing about people who base their predictions on linear models, and we feel that they are misguided and old-fashioned because obviously our world is exponential, those people have to revise their models too, because the world is not exponential, the world is jolting. And there is an interesting example of this in this website dedicated to forecasts called Metaculus, where people were predicting AGI coming in the 50s, then they were predicting it coming in the 40s, then they were predicting coming in the 30s, then they are predicting it coming sooner than that. And this is the average of thousands of forecasters, right? And the reason they need to revise their predictions for AGI to come ever sooner is because of the wrong model they apply to the world, because they should be applying super exponential jolting models rather than merely exponential models. And the same in music. Things that we don't expect to come for a long time will arrive not only sooner than we feel, but sooner than we can maybe imagine.
I'm okay with that. It's more a question of like, they be further away from what humans can do is a different question. Like the ability of hearing these great songs that Suno can produce definitely came faster than I anticipated when you and I started having this discussion 3 or 4 years ago. Now, are they going to pass the bar that humans are able to do by improving themselves, and how? This is a question that I don't know the answer of. Like right now, the type of models and mathematical computations that I'm seeing are accelerating and mimicking rather than creating something new. But the line is really blurred. It's not like black and white. What is new? Is it something you never heard before, or is it like, how do you qualify new, right? You give an example before that, is really a perfect example, right? Is it like in what is it if it's in infra frequencies we cannot even hear? Is that new? Of course it is. No human, as far as I know, maybe some early 900 centuries philosophy at the time of, I don't know, or atonal music or whatever, Dadaists. I'm sure somebody tried doing some infra music, which nobody can hear. You can only see the chairs moving because, sure, but like, is it even meaningful to us? And does it matter if it's meaningful to us? All of this is like, so.
Emiliano
There you go.
About the empty artwork of Fontana's cut. And my response to that is that I have no qualms about calling a lot of postmodern or all of postmodern art bullshit. It's just a way for artists to laugh about a system that appreciates their joking around. They're putting their own shit in jars. And I do not feel that the amount of respect they receive is deserved. If, I don't know, some Renaissance artist was not appreciated in their own time, but 500 years later, we now recognize they were a giant of art. For example, Leonardo was running the risk of being arrested and potentially killed because he was stealing cadavers in order to study human anatomy. And if he were found, the fact that he believed it was necessary in order to be an artist would not have been accepted. And now we feel that he was a revolutionary, and we are happy that he wasn't caught, right? 500 years from now, I don't remember the name of the artist who put his own shit in a jar, is not going to be recognized as a revolutionary, and people will not be happy that he was able to create this whole new movement. The experimentation that we can do in order to find what is new and valuable of course, can include mistakes too. And that is fine, as long as we don't pretend that the mistakes are not mistakes. I think that a lot of the experimentation in art, especially again postmodern art, is just fine. We did it; it's a mistake. Let's not do it again. But it is a good starting point and a basis for exercising our taste and to be able to recognize what is valuable and what is not. Otherwise, maybe we wouldn't, and we would just believe what any kind of authority says. You, by the way, said something that I want to again reject and counter. You said that these tools are a vulgarization of excellence, and I want to reject the term, substituting it with it is democratizing excellence.
Sure, it's the same thing.
Whoa, no. The first has a negative connotation.
Not to me. It's vulgar. It's populous. It's vulgarization. Anyway, that's the way I intended it. Democratization of the tool.
Okay, thank you. Because otherwise, the next thing I would have said is the elitist, aristocratic attitude that the vulgus, the
Understood.
people don't deserve.
No, absolutely not.
Power is
well, thank you for bringing it up, because that's definitely not the way I intended it. I was
Okay.
talking about vulgus, like, populous and being available to everyone.
And Emiliano makes another consideration as well, which is very interesting. Are these songs popular by their own merit or because of some circumstance? And there is some interesting reason to say that the circumstance plays a very large role. Albert Laszlo Barabashi, who was much more courageous than Vasarely, both are Hungarian with a relatively unpronounceable name, but Vasarely, who is one of the fathers of op art, changed his name so that it would be more pronounceable, because his original name is Vásárhelyi, and Barabashi didn't change his name. Is one of the most cited scientists with over 300,000 citations in the field of complex science. And his original book is here on my shelf somewhere. Here it is. Sorry. Network Science. It is a really very, very good book about fantastically illustrated and typeset academic book about the mathematics of network science. But the more recent book that he wrote is the formula, which details how actually artists are advantaged by the ecosystems they find themselves in. And if an artist is outside of that kind of ecosystem, the possibility and the probability that they would find success, at least traditional success, hopefully even in their lifetimes, is radically reduced. And he has, of course, all kinds of mathematical analyses of why this is the case. And it is a bit humbling, because it says, well, the reason why LA or New York or London or other hubs of creativity and art have a staying power and others have a harder time emerging, also tells you that people should indeed get up and leave. They should go to LA, they should go to New York, they should go to London or wherever if they really want to flourish as artists. So I kept you long, and I thank you for your patience and your availability. You are seldom public the way you have been about your 15-year-old self and about your passions and activities. So I want to recognize that as well. You did it because we are friends, and I hope that you enjoyed the conversation as well.
I did. Thank you, David, for having me here.
And as we agreed, we will meet in a year's time or so to see if AIs have become able to generate new genres of music or other fields of creativity.
Fair.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here with us today for Searching for the Question Live. We are exploring what are the frontiers of technology and the applications to how we live our lives. I always invite our viewers to get their hands dirty, to experiment with the tools that we show and share, which are available to anyone. You just have to want to understand how easy they are, and then look in their implications. We will keep doing that, and I am grateful for our guests to make themselves available, catalyzing our thinking. See you next time.